we were having a discussion at dinner about what the purpose of poetry is anyway. And one of the purposes is community. And one of the purposes is to connect with people and to inspire people. Jackson was totally into what they call, kind of a little bit derisively, the occasional poem. Meaning, if there's an occasion that requires a poem, a poet writes that in order to connect, to give those words to the people who are there for that same occasion. And that's actually one of the most, one of the most primal. That occasional poem is not to be derided. It's not to be derided. It is a primal function of poetry, and it was one that Jackson did over and over and over. Almost, I'd say half or a third of his poems are for somebody, for some kind of occasion. And he was alive during the worst of the AIDS epidemic and very, very close to. So he was always writing poems for people who had passed, to commemorate their life, to consecrate their lives. So this one, though, is a birthday poem. It's a birthday poem, and he grew up in a very small community, a lot of influence of the King James Bible and Shakespeare. That was really true. That's who he was, Shakespeare and the King James Bible. And who does that remind you of? It reminds me of Abraham Lincoln. But there might be a biblical term in here that you won't know or won't remember from Sunday school. Okay, I looked it up myself. Zacchaeus. It is a little reference to Zacchaeus climbing a tree. And I was like, oh, Zacchaeus climbed a tree? Who is that? So I did look it up, and Zacchaeus was a hated and despised person who wanted to see Jesus as he was coming into these towns. And he's also a short person. Hopefully not despised for that. So he climbed a tree. He climbed a tree in order to see Jesus come in. And Jesus looked up, saw that he was in that tree, and saw who he was, and saw that he needed to stand in solidarity with him, and said to him, Zacchaeus, I'm coming to your house after this. So Jackson here in the poem there's no Jesus in the poem. The presence of the sacred in the poem is the world. It's the beauty of nature. So that's the God in here. A little poem for Uncle Odell. There are some days I am overwhelmed by beauty, so taken by cloud, pale sky, and the sturdy presence of dogwood that I find myself giddy. Imagine Zacchaeus climbing up a tree to look upon the salvation of the world. I want to believe, I really do. And as I make my way back down the rutted path so many have hiked for years beyond counting, I sing under my breath, remembering the kingdom of heaven, that which is within me. Look now, the afternoon sun sets the world ablaze there at the mountain's edge. Jackson Wheeler.